Shalom. First of all, I'd like to start off by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakatash. Double honors to teachers, elders, and apostles of great millstone, likewise brothers putting on this truth, faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep, and to brothers and sisters tuning in. Shalom. Today's lesson is titled, The Great Repossession, Assets and Soul. Let's go into the word repossess in the ordinary dictionary, and it means retake possessions of something when a buyer defaults on payments. Now, most of you are probably thinking about, car repo, you thinking about foreclosure in a house. You're probably thinking about, a store trying to repossess, jewelry that you put on credit and, you haven't paid for. But what we're going to go into today in the scriptures is the repossession of the assets and the soul, because this is going to come under great tribulation as we go into the book of 2nd Ezra 16, starting verse 37, and it reads, Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, and with 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child come forth, they slack not a moment. Now, we're talking about childbirth here, and this is really metaphorically, describing the pain and tribulation that we're going to be going through here in Great Babylon, America, as the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Latinos, whose seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, let's take a look at that word plague in the online etymology. It means affliction, calamity, evil, scourge, severe trouble, or vexation. Now, I know when I first used, when the scripture came up with the word plague, the first thing you think about is like, a disease. And that's why you can see here it says malignant disease, okay? But in reality, this is talking about the affliction, the calamity, the evil, which is going to be brought on by the so-called white man, the scourge and the severe trouble and vexation, because, okay, as the title says, the great repossession, and we're going to go and see how this is going to play out. It says, even so shall not the plague be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Let's look at that word pilgrim, okay, in the etymology dictionary, and it means, as you can see there, a person traveling to a holy place or as a penance, or to discharge some vow or religious obligation, or seeking some miracle or spiritual relief, benefit. Now, I highlight what the real meaning is for this for us in this time. It means a traveler, generally a wayfarer. Now, we've been given this warning for a reason, to be us pilgrims. I want you to put your thinking cap on, Jake, okay? Especially for those of you who are new to this truth. Take a look at the situation that we're in here in Great Babylon, America. Right now, you have the king of Babylon has declared war on Israel, okay? So-called blacks, Americans, and Latinos, in which right now these agents are rounding up our people, accusing them of being here illegally, and also having ties with what they call terrorist organization, mainly the Mexican cartels and associated South American gangs, okay, mainly from Venezuela. Now, with that, and I'm going to show you a little bit later on in this lesson, okay, they have laws in place in which they can repossess your assets if they deem you connected to any of these terrorist organizations. Now, these are always, the drug cartels was pushing the drugs through, which we know the CIA is involved with that, and mainly they were targeting, the so-called blacks and Native Americans and Latino communities with this, these narcotics, okay, and all of a sudden now they're deemed terrorist group right now, because why? They understand that a lot of Hebrew Israelites are related, okay, or have some sort of connection by tribe to these organization, okay, the people that are running these organization, or these cartels, okay, so to speak, okay, which they describe as so-called Latinos or Hispanics, right? So this warning that's coming to us to be like pilgrims, it is telling us that we are not to have our mindset in the assets that we currently have right now here in Great Babylon, America. Because these things that's going to be coming upon us, okay, they're going to be plague-like state, okay? We're going to be constantly, okay, in an afflicted state, calamity, okay? So this is bigger than them just grabbing Jakes up and putting them on a plane and sending them to Guantanamo Bay or down to El Salvador, okay? What we are finding out, okay, that this really is about the war on the children of Israel. And people right now, even in the early stages of this, of now finding themselves in the clutches of the United States government, being accused of things that they had no connection to. Let's go into the book of 1 John 2 and start at verse 15. And it reads, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world." This is a critical warning. And why this is such a critical warning is because this is going to be a mental game that we're going to be going through. Think about it. Here you are, a U.S. citizen, but because you are from the tribe of Israel, so-called blacks and Americans and Latinos, whose seed line goes to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you are now grouped into a set of people that the so-called white man now have his eyes on. Hey, when they talk about make America great again, they're talking about going back to the old ways, but this time around it's going to be a whole lot different. Look at the assets that Esau now has. Okay, look at the assets he has. When they used to chase us and they used to have those, people hunt us down after slavery, they were on horseback. Okay, now they have drones, they have helicopters, they have planes, they have vehicles that can travel anywhere, and well-trained sentries, okay, well-trained sentries. Now our people are finding out the hard way because right now you see all of this, unemployment suddenly taking place in early 2025, where they're saying they're getting rid of people that don't belong in the positions that they're in, no matter how mediocre those positions are. What they're saying is that the work population in America consists of people that have inferior mental capacity, so much so that they are going to replace these people with artificial intelligence or automation. And so now they've gone on a campaign about this. You had Elon Musk, sent out, said that he wants to know from everybody, write down what you have accomplished. Okay, it's similar to the way he uses that type of evaluation tactics out there in the civilian sector, or in the private sector, I should say. He's trying to use that with these people who are associated with, government employment. Okay, now our people have always been caught up, in Great Babylon, in the ways of Great Babylon America through pride. You get your 401k, you might have some stock, have some bonds. You're guaranteed a retirement after like 30 years or 20 years, 25 years, depends on which organization you're in. Okay, and that creates that kind of pride. I made it. Look at me, I made it. My college degree is paying off. But what you're being told here is to not fall for that. This is not our place of rest. Not to fall for that, because a great mental game is going to come, because this is that Jacob's trouble that the scriptures talk about. Okay, when we go into the book of Matthew 24, and verse 70 says, "Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of this house, neither let him which is in the field return to take his clothes." An example of this would be when Lot left Sodom and Gomorrah. And what happened? His wife turned back, because they were pretty well off. Okay, and we know what the fate of her was. The same thing is going to be the case right now when I just spoke about us being as pilgrims, okay, in the book of 2nd Ezra 16, and verse 40 says, "O my people, hear my word, make ye ready to that battle." That battle is going to be a mental battle and also a physical battle that's going to be taking place. Because Esau is going to be persecuting us physically, but there's also going to be that mental state, and we're going to go into how the government goes after your asset, and in the freezing process and how this actually works. And it says, and those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth, meaning what? Whatever you have, don't get attached to it. And that's what First John is letting you know. Don't get attached to it. And this is the mindset, of the 1/3 elect of Yasharala, because this is day in and day out that the men of the Lord go on the YouTube and on the highway and the byway and edify the hopefully elect not to become attached to anything. You need it for now, but when the time comes, understand that this man, this man of evil, this so-called white man, is going to use whatever tactic to destroy you. And the first tactic is that mental state that people go into when they are losing that stability in life. And we've seen the uproars of the people. Look at it, the uproars of the people. So you're being told, the Mashik has made it very clear to us, not to look back. Not to look back. These things are to happen. Let's take a look now for a minute. And this is how the government deals with people. Keep in mind, they accuse Yahushua of being a devil, of being a devil. And he's made it very clear that the servant is not greater than the master. So if they accuse him of that, what do you think they're going to accuse us? And particularly men like myself and all the other brothers out there that go on the highway and the byway, the men that are on the front line that are speaking against the wickedness of this place. So they're going to label us. We already know that. And all of you who are following, you're going to be labeled too. Trust me, they have your IP address. And we know they have our IP address, but we don't give a crap. So it says the government can freeze assets through a court order, letter to the asset holder, or by applying for a restraining order. The government can freeze asset to enforce court judgments, to seize asset linked to crime, or to prevent the transfer of funds related to terrorism, which I brought a lesson last week concerning that, part of this homeland security, purge on the children of Israel is that they're looking at anyone that's related or in communication with the people that they deem as terrorists, which AKA known as the Mexican cartel, they can then turn around and also charge them with a crime, or aiding and abetting, or receiving funds, from a terrorist organization. We made it very clear there's a whole lot of these internment camps that are all over the place, waiting to be filled by jakes. So not everybody's going to be put on a C-17 or a jet and flown to El Salvador or Guantanamo Bay. They have thousands of facilities here waiting for a whole lot of people. Now we know the Edomites are going to be involved, and these other tribes too. They're going to be locked down too. But our concern is Yasharala, the children of Israel. It says how the government freezes asset, court order. Now keep in mind, when Trump comes out and you see his little pal there, Elon Musk, they're bypassing all of the safety measures that's been put in place through Congress, to protect the people. What we have right now, is what's going to be like a dictatorship, things that you see in the movies, in which they're bypassing all those things that they're set in place where you have the Bill of Rights, Those things are now out of the window. Don't keep that in your head, Jake. It says court order issue an order to freeze assets such as bank account or property. They're going to be able to just do that because all they have to do is just link you to a crime. That crime is what you're going against. You're a state terrorist, or you're an enemy of the state. So right off the bat, they can do that letter, and they're bypassing the court. So don't forget, you probably heard about them when they talk about these people, Jake, some who are getting, picked up right now. They say, oh, you have rights. No, you don't. It says letter. The government can send a letter to the asset holder informing them of the asset's origin and potential liability. So they can tell the bank, well, wait a minute, your customer, is tied to terrorism. If you don't freeze that bank account, or their asset, what we are going to do is we're going to fine you. So you think a bank is going to get fined by the government unless you have trillions of dollars in the bank. They're going to lock it down. It says restraining order. The government can apply for a restraining order to freeze assets linked to a crime. What crime? And that could be any crime. Look at what this man is saying. Basically, he's actually saying that he's not going to hold the police accountable for shooting anyone that's escaping from them while committing an act of crime or criminal act, okay, such as stealing, okay, maybe accused of hurting somebody, these type of things, okay. So you can see right now all these new laws and these new things that they're, because this is the place. This place is called Bible for a reason, okay, Babylon for a reason. Confusion, okay, that they're using because this is the time right now of Jacob's trouble. It says the Office of Foreign Asset Control, or OFAC, can block assets of certain people, preventing them from being transferred or withdrawn. So let's say if they freeze you everything you have over here, and you have relatives in someplace else that might want to try to help you, they can also block that too. Okay, it says the purpose of asset freezing can be to ensure debtors pay fines or damages, seize asset linked to crime, prevent the transfer of funds related to terrorism. And what are they deeming terrorism? The fact that you are telling them, okay, or you believe that the true biblical power, okay, who they call God and Jesus, are so-called black men. And that at some point in time in the near future, the so-called white man will lose his power, be overthrown by a powerful deity, and put into slavery for 1,000 years and then wiped out of existence at the conclusion of it. And the very people that are at the bottom of society here right now are going to be in rulership over them during that 1,000 years. Okay? So that to them is their form of blasphemy. Okay? And we diligently preach that daily. Okay? And it says, what asset can be frozen? The government can freeze bank accounts, investment portfolio, real estate, vehicle, and artwork. Now, why did Yahweh Mashiach said in Matthew 24, verse 7, it says, let him which is on the house roof not come down to take anything out of this house, neither let him which is in the field return back to us, take his clothes. Okay, so when they already freeze all of that, you're going to be left with nothing. Okay, this is a mind game. Because one thing they're going to use is this, and they're going to use is your inability to survive in this society. What does society require? It requires for you to constantly spend money in order to eat, drink, and sleep. And you will not be able to do that if you're being accused of going against what this devil is striving to do, which is the New World Order, okay? The New World Order. So I just explained that to you. Let's go into 2nd Ezra 16, and we can see how this actually plays out. It says, for there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. We've seen this already starting right now. See, Jake, you always keep thinking that this is something in the future. No, this is already started right now. If your door, you're listening to this and your door is kicked down, and someone with a jacket that says ICE, comes in there and grab you up and throw you in the back of a van and then drive you off and throw you into some military plane and ship you off like that, that is an insurrection on you. Okay, your family is now displaced. Okay, they can now seize your asset. They can then turn around. They can say, well, you actually was part of the Sonola family, or you're part of this gang or that gang or whatever the case is like that. Who's watching? It says they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling, destroying those that fear the Lord. So this is eventually going to go from what they call criminals into ordinary people who right now, who have lost their jobs. And we've seen a great unemployment taking place right here in Great Babylon, America. We warned you about the fact that there should be no work in Egypt for the head or the tail. Okay, which is placed in no spiritual sort of Egypt. Okay, so people are going to be acting in such a way right now that can draw that suspicion. Okay, so they're not going to be sparing any. So now this is going to go to the ordinary people who are in disarray and go, what do I do now? What do I do? For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Repossession. Okay, now, when you're looking for repossession, if you have no job, guess what's going to happen? You can't pay your bills. You can't pay your bills. We've seen where people, sit inside or inside a house that they haven't paid for, or an apartment they haven't paid for, and you have to go through all that court order, all that stuff. That's not going to be the case in this time. Okay, that's not going to be the case. So as you see right now, they're using this term DEI and saying that stupid people are in positions that they shouldn't be in, and we're getting rid of them by the tens of hundreds of thousands, if not into the millions. And the impact that's going to have is on these private corporations. Is that, well, government workers don't have any money to spend. Guess what? They can't buy your product. It doesn't matter if the i10 or i15 come out right now, phone come out right now from Apple, nobody can buy it. So they're going to start letting go of people. You see how this is going to impact, and we can go all day with this. So there's going to be a spiraling effect on Great Babylon, America, which means what? You're going to have a whole lot of houses that cannot be paid for, assets that you can no longer sustain, which means what? Banks are going to be losing money like crazy because they're not getting any money back. You see how this is going to work? On top of the fact that as people start to become very desperate, they can now accuse you of anything or associate you with anything. Okay? Let's go into the book of Jeremiah 30 and start verse 4, because it's very pertinent that you understand there's a war of words that's coming from the east or the Edomite, the so-called white man. Then you're going to have AI is going to have its opinion of you. Okay? You're going to be stripped of your dignity, your freedom, and then you're going to have to either decide to do what the government says or what the Lord Yahweh Shemashai has put into the words of into the mouths of his prophet to tell you how your life needs to go. But the things are going to be horrific. Let's close with Jeremiah 30, down verse 4. It says, and these are the words of the Lord Yahweh Shemashai spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah, so northern and southern kingdom. As you Latinos and Hispanics are discovering, you're not better than us, dark-skinned Hebrew Israelites. You're not. Now you are discovering you too are subject to the tribulation and the plagues. Okay? Uncertainty. Okay? Being persecuted. Okay? Not really having any reliable form of, income. Okay? And you realize now that the so-called white man, Esau the Edomite, is truly evil and diabolical. It says, for thus said the Lord Yahweh Shemashai, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear and not of peace. Now it probably might not hit you. You listening to this, and this might be amusement to you. Not for long. Okay? I actually now see whether a man doth travail of a child. Wherefore do I see every man with a sound in his loin, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. That's the fear. Think about it. They can accuse you now of anything and take away everything you have. You could be 50, 60, 70 years old. Many have never even camped outside. Most people don't even walk the extra 20 feet when they go to park their car in front of the grocery store. They're out of shape. Health is poor. And they don't have any survival skills. And now this man is telling you right now, I can accuse you of anything, freeze all your assets, you have nothing. And then I can repossess your life, your soul. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that is none like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. Jacob is the 12th tribe of Israel. But he should be saved out of it. Who's going to be saved out of it? Those that listen to the warning. Matthew 24, verse 17. You didn't come back from the house roof, meaning what? You don't have your heart set in Great Babylon, America, to where I'm going to fight for my rights, I'm going to fight for my freedom, I'm going to stay here. Now, all those sheikhs who've been caught by ICE, Trump said it months ago what he intended to do. And guess what? They never left. They stayed right around there being surveilled, okay, under surveillance from these agents who, when the time came and Trump said, go get them on day one, they were right there sitting down there eating ice cream. No wisdom whatsoever. Okay? But the 1/3 elect of Yasharallah is going to be saved out of it. Lord willing, the elect was edified like close to give an offering on the two. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Shalom.